McAtee with an equaliser made it 2-2, but Nasty late on in the game made it 3-2. City had chances, make no mistake about it, but just couldn't take them, particularly one in the first half from Oscar Bob. One or two little chances in the second half as well. But the final score is City 2, AC Milan 3 here in Yankee Stadium. And the Blues will now go on to meet Barcelona in Florida in a few days' time. So let's go back to the studio and we can get the thoughts of David James and Keith Curle, who are in the company of Natalie.
Welcome back to Match Day Live. So City have been beaten 3-2 in the friendly with AC Milan this evening, but absolutely loads of positives to take from the game. I'm still joined by Keith and by David. Keith, first of all, I'll ask you both, for any fans out there that are a little bit concerned, 2 pre-season games so far, 2 defeats. Give us some good positives that we can take from that game.
Well, it's a results industry, right? So then with the young players, the biggest thing that you have to take on board is when you lose, you learn. Yeah. So individually, the players they're playing against good opposition. A step up for a lot of the players that have progressed into the first team pre-season, and so this is an opportunity for them in defeat to learn about their own individual roles and their positional play, in possession, out of possession, what's required and what's needed for them. So take a positive out of a defeat. It's a great opportunity for some of the younger players, the academy players, being in and around the first team environment. And again, it's not only about on the pitch, it's off the pitch as well now, because the manager, his staff as well, they will be looking for their mannerisms now, facing defeat. In the face of defeat, how do they act? Because it's not to say, oh, does it matter? Yeah, it does matter.
Yeah, absolutely. The way that you pick yourselves up from a fall is very, very important, very representative. I like that. David, what's your positive take on it?
Erling Haaland smiling there at the end. Genuinely, because he, in that first half, there was obviously with the goal that he scored, the relationship with Oscar Bob, and I think this was a positive thing because you didn't see that opportunities for Oscar Bob. I know it sounds negative, but when Oscar Bob and Erling Haaland on the pitch, it seems to work fantastically well, something that Pep will be very aware of and possibly even thinking about how he might introduce this to the beginning of the season. In the second half, like Keith said, I mean, people always think defeat is negative, but you have to learn from it. From a manager, from a coaching point of view, you will then see how people respond, which, again, you have to learn. You need to know how to... There he is, look. If it was all doom and gloom, he would not be smiling. It's pre-season, they've got the minutes, decent opposition. Yes, Barcelona, you would imagine, will be another step forward or step up, and we'll have to see a response. But in all, I'm sure there'll be a lot that Pep will be going, good, now I know a bit more, ready for the season.
Yeah, I loved the link-up between Erling and Oscar Bob in the first half. Erling, of course, went off at half-time. We saw 4 changes at half-time for City. And then I think it was a further 1, 2, 3, 4. So we saw 8 changes in total in the second half. So the goal in the first half was made in Norway. The goal in the second half was made in the Manchester City Academy. So let's have another little look at that goal in just a second and we'll talk you through that. So I'd been saying that I was excited to see James McAtee. And he got a result. He got his goal. Keith, talk us through the goal in terms of. I'm looking at the assist from our academy player and the goal from our academy player.
Just touching on that. Before that, did you see Jack Grealish chasing back? Excellent to see. Excellent for young players to learn. And then great play, good build up into the final third. Great to see McAtee. The kid can score goals. He's got an eye for goal. Great movement as well in the box. He took the defender under the ball, then pulled out, got that earned that yard of space that he needs. See how he's taking the defender in. Check movement, loses the defender. That's good movement.
And you were talking, David, about Micah Hamilton at half-time. And then he's gone and got an assist. Yeah,
and again, just reference to the crosses by Chuck.
Yes.
Chuck Maker.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Something like that.
Yeah, forgive me on that.
Yeah.
The fact that he was essentially crossing a dead ball. Well, if you look at Hamilton's position there, he could have, had McAtee made the run, clipped him first time with off a dead ball with his right foot, but instead he did what you traditionally want, little kick and go, beats the defender. It's a fantastic cross. Tomori not expecting it, McAtee running in behind. Again, all these little things, I mean, you cannot expect in the second pre-season game for everyone to be at their best and everything to flow. So you look at again, when you talk about the positive, things like Hamilton, again, showing that he's got a bit of substance, which could be crucial. McAtee scoring goals, which is what he wanted to do, which I don't think he did last pre-season. So again, these things are improvements on last pre-season and putting players in better positions.
Lovely. Right, let's have a look at the AC Milan goal now. Let's see what we can learn sort of defensively. Keith, what could we have done differently? What could we have done better in this goal?
The centre-back, the centre forward who was playing in the middle of the pitch, making a run down the channel. Can you get a target to? Can you keep him facing the goal? It's giving him too much time to be able then to get his head up and pick a pass. The lad just has a quick look then to find out what's behind him. Where go and focus on the ball and stop that cross coming in. Good finish from the lad. Nasty, is it? Arriving into the box.
It doesn't matter what game it is. Pep will never be happy with conceding a goal, and I like that about him, David. I think that's one of his qualities that makes him such a winner. Yeah,
I mean, and as much as we can talk about it, sort of to a lesser or great extent, the point about results, but if you're losing, that means you're conceding goals, and goals shouldn't be conceded. And Pep, as we know, doesn't like conceding in any situation. And there's always a part that can be done better. The fact that he's about to bring on Scott Carson. I mean, Scott's there probably thinking that could have been me if I'd have gone on 30 seconds earlier. But yeah, if your manager's going to allow... I mean, I'm talking about Erling Haaland smiling after the game. He scored a goal, he's happy. His pre-season's going nicely. For Pep, it's kind of, yeah, we don't want to concede goals. So that's good.
In terms of the goal that we conceded there, what did you make of Edison in it? Was it just a great shot? Was there nothing he could have done?
The shot's right-footed, defender in a position that might make a block, which is a split second of observation from the goalkeeping point of view. There's a bit of dip on it. There's lots that you would find difficult to make the save. I'm not going to blame Eddie anyway.
You never would. You never would. And I don't want to anyway, because we love him.
I would deflect.
Yes, absolutely, like the great goalkeeper that you are, David. You mentioned there we saw Scott Carson was coming on. He came on for 11, 12 minutes. We're not sure he touched the ball, but why do you think Pep decided to bring Carson on and not Ortega?
Because Scott Carson has signed a new contract. There will be potentially, hopefully not because of injuries, but for any given reason, potentially Scott will be on the bench in games during the season, and this is his best opportunity to get some minutes. Ironically, he didn't touch the ball, so hopefully his communication was fantastic. But yeah, and Ortega played in the game against Celtic, with Barcelona coming up, Chelsea coming up, Manchester United coming up. You know, it's unlikely that Scott will feature in those games.
In terms of the substitutions again, Keith, so the only players that played the full 90 were Callum Doyle, Rico Lewis and Oscar Bob. We saw Rico Lewis, we've seen him play a variety of positions, and we learned that he can play across the back and in midfield. Well, today we learned he can play as a false nine as well, didn't we? Yeah,
it's a strange one, but the lad's an athlete. He's a natural athlete. He's gaining football intelligence, football understanding, and he's taking it to it naturally. And again, you have a look at his mentality as well. It doesn't matter if he's playing right back, left back, up front, midfield. The lad can play football, which is it's a great education to have.
I know that Pep said in his press conference that he prefers him in midfield, but it's just great to know that he's got the variety of position as well. Really interestingly, David, the only players so far, Rico Lewis and Oscar Bob played the full 90 minutes. So Oscar Bob played the full 90 minutes again. Rico played the full 90 minutes again. I'm taking that, are you taking that as an indication that they're most likely the players that we might see in the Community Shield in the Chelsea game for the first game of the season?
Ooh, that's a very good question. I think Oscar Bob, yes. Simply because, less so in the second half, but again, that relationship perhaps wasn't there. But what he's done in 120 minutes has been the best of any City player. He is saying to Pep, I am ready, and you give me the trust in me, which I think Pep does anyway. With regards to Rico Lewis, just trying to think who's going to come back and possibly interrupt that. with the likes of, well, considering he played every position now, then it's pretty much any player that can come back. But yeah, I think he could feature, but I think Oscar Bob is. Pep might even, if he's starting to put a team down for that Community Shield, then Oscar Bob has got to be at the top of the list at the moment.
Absolutely. Anybody else that impressed you? Anybody else that stood out for you today, Keith?
Strange to have the young lad Wright that came on. Just little glips in it. Yeah, Jacob, the one cross that he put in. But I was watching him off the ball when City had possession of the ball, checking his shoulders, his awareness of where his other teammates were, but also the opposition. So if he did get the ball played into him, he knew whether it's a one-touch, two-touch, or if you could turn and play. And that's just within probably 10 minutes of watching the game there. I'm thinking like he stood out as somebody that's I've not really seen a lot of.
He joined the academy, another one, we've mentioned a few of them that joined the academy at under 8s, I think. So he's been with us for pretty much his whole life. He made his debut in the FA Cup game against Huddersfield in January, at the start of this year as well, that big 5-0 game as well. So I love that. I'm loving the amount of academy players that we're seeing that have been with us their whole lives.
He didn't go out on loan last season, did he?
I don't think so, no.
No. Yeah, no, so again, it might be his progression. This next season might be will he feature in somebody else's first team to gain that match sharpness and that match tempo that's needed. The lad can play because he's still here.
With the exception of Oscar Bob, you can't say Oscar Bob again. Who else stood out for you?
Hamilton. Yeah. Again, I mean, it was a difficult game. When you look at Fata's goal. The possession that Milan had, it was very difficult for City to get. Well, they didn't get the possession back. They kept the possession very, very well. But when they did have possession, he looked lively. Again, I was talking about Oscar Bob in the first half. He was doing it in the second half, getting the ball, wanting to attack players. The cross was superb for McAtee. These are the things, again, that Pep will be looking at and going, well, actually, if he can do this against what was a half-decent side tonight, very decent side, forgive me, in Milan, then he could do this for us in competition.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Right, we're going to go back over now to Pitchside in New York, where we're going to be joined by Rico Lewis.
Rico, a tough loss, but another entertaining game. What's your assessment of that one?
Obviously, it's pre-season. We're trying to get back into the rhythm of everything, so the rhythm of winning, but also the rhythm of how we play. And I think today was a better performance than the last game, and we're showing more composure, more calmness on the ball, and we're getting out the pitches that we want to get out, that we practice in training. Obviously, at the end of the day, we lose the game, but luckily it's pre-season. This is the time where we can afford to lose games.
You mentioned it there, pre-season's all about improving in fitness. In terms of your own fitness, where do you feel you're at the moment?
Well, better than I expected. I didn't expect to play both games 90 minutes, but the manager asked me a few times during the game if I'm okay, and I felt fine, so I carried on. So not been cramping up or anything so far, so it's all good.
I've got to ask you about Oscar Bob, who's 2 great performances in pre-season so far. What's it like playing with him?
It's amazing. He's so good on the ball. I think that's one of his best attributes, is dribbling and driving with the ball. And, he's not scared to make mistakes. If he gives the ball away, you see his reaction straight away to win it back. And the second time he gets on the ball, he'll go and do the same thing again. He'll go and drive. And I think that's another credit to him, is his fearlessness as a young player.
And what about a sellout crowd here in New York? We've brought a squad of players. We're missing some big names, but we've sold out a big stadium in New York. It's really impressive, isn't it?
Yeah, obviously it's amazing, this far away from home. And like you say, we've not got all the players, all the big names in the squad, and still people come out and watch us, and that's a credit to the fans, and also how big the club is in terms of the world.
Have you enjoyed your time in New York?
Yeah, it's been amazing. We've had a few times to go and see the place, and it's been obviously it's a different experience, and it's amazing.
And just generally pre-season, how are you finding it? It seems really well organised. All the training sessions seem really good. It seems like there's a good energy in the camp.
Yeah, definitely, and I think that's one of the things we've got to credit ourselves for. Is, obviously it's easy to be negative on a defeat like last game, and as soon as we came back after the game, the spirits were high, the training was good, and we come straight back out. And I think that's one of the good things. We've got such a young group of players that everyone's so mature, and the senior lads are helping out the younger lads, and that's the best way to do it.
Stuff. Well played, Rico. Thank you.
That was Rico Lewis speaking to us after the game against AC Milan. We're going to go back now over live pitchside to the Yankee Stadium, where we've managed to get FG, Shaun Wright-Phillips and Joleon Lescott back together.
Thank you very much. You have indeed got the band back together. Great vibes here at the Yankee Stadium. You can hear all the noise which is going on behind the camera, and that's because Pep is just behind us, which is always nice. But the atmosphere in the stadium has been fantastic. Of course, the result wasn't the result we wanted, but there were so many positives, Joleon.
Yeah, of course. Obviously, the players that played well will take it as the positives, and the ones that probably felt they may have underperformed, but they was learning, so it's a positive all round. So again, like you said, the atmosphere was outstanding. It's always an easy atmosphere to tolerate when it's pre-season. Fans cheer for every goal and appreciate good play from both teams. So listen, this isn't about results. It's a pre-season. So like I said many a time, the season is so strenuous mentally, you're allowed to just physically use that aspect of the game. So just use pre-season as physically getting prepared for the season, not mentally, because if you have to focus constantly about winning, then it can be tiring throughout this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Shaun, I want to come to you about one man who we've not really spoken about too much, but he was absolutely fantastic when he came on. Micah Hamilton, who got the assist for the James McAtee goal as well.
He's done, in many ways, what everybody wants to see from a young academy product or a sub coming off the bench. You want to see him have an impact in the game, play a role, be creative, excite people, and that's what he done. It's exactly the same thing that he did in the Champions League. He seems to have that way where that's just the way he plays. And oh my God, if you can hear it clearly, the big man's in there, Pep. He's obviously going down now, but I mean, in terms of Hamilton, I think he will go a very, very long way in football just because of the way he plays, his tenacity, tries to be creative, but keeps the ball at the right times. His decision-making is so good for such a young player.
Yeah, he was absolutely fantastic. And another one who was fantastic in the first game, and also same again. He looks really, really sharp. He looks like he's obviously prepared a lot for this tournament, because he looks like he's really, really sharp. Oscar Bob, fantastic again.
And again, we shouldn't be surprised from what we've seen throughout the season, but let's remember, at this stage last season, he was the player we were referencing as in inexperience, hoping to make an impact, and he's done that obviously throughout the year, but now he should be an inspiration to these younger players that are looking and thinking, well, 12 months ago, I was in the same position as Oscar Bob. So it's a real opportunity, and that could be Micah Hamilton in regards to how this season looks out for him and how this season pans out for him. But yeah, he's obviously made himself or allowed himself to be prepared for pre-season. He's come back looking like it's mid-season.
Yeah, he's actually looked like one of the senior players out there as well, which is fantastic to see. Behind us, what's going on is the players are doing a little bit of a training drill. I imagine it's the players who haven't played too many minutes. Joleon, like you said, it's just all about fitness in this. Yeah,
it's all about preparation and gaining fitness levels physically more than mentally. So, yes, obviously we travel a day tomorrow, so they'll understand that this is a work day for majority of the squad. So there's players out there that probably didn't get the minutes, obviously the level of Jack and Haaland. So in regards to that, use it as a work day, and then tomorrow everyone can recover, so you keep every player on the same schedule.
And they are training out on the pitch, Shaun, so I mean it's a great opportunity for them again to train at a place like this, which is incredible. We've got so much young talent here, and this academy is just getting better and better, isn't it?
I wouldn't say it can't get any better, because every time somebody says you're going to lose a player, how do you replace him, or this academy can't be better than it is, this club always seems to find a way to make both of those situations better. But in terms of being here for these young kids, whether you started or didn't start or get any minutes or didn't, that is a positive. I think it's not a chance you get. Like the standard of players that Pep has in these teams, you have to earn the right to not only be in there, but just to be a part of that circle. And all these kids that are here have actually earned the respect of the first team players, the manager, and all the coaches. Otherwise, they wouldn't be on this tour. So all they need to do is just keep doing what they're doing and enjoy it. And at some place, if you do what Rico does, or Phil does, or Cole Palmer does, or McAtee, you're going to be successful at some point.
Well, listen, it's been absolutely amazing being with you guys in New York. Next stop is Orlando. Thank you so much for all your great work. Travel day tomorrow, but we will be back, so we'll see you next time. And thank you so much to everyone in the studio, and a big shout out to David as well. I hope he changed his socks during the game.
Wow, thanks so much to FG now, the sock fashion police.
Yeah, well, at least I didn't pull mine up, pull them down, then pull them back up again.
I know, at least you weren't wearing yours as like they were like nearly knee-high socks there, FG. Come on. But thank you so much to FG, to Shaun Wright-Phillips, and to Joleon Lescott. Travel well tomorrow, gents. Thank you. So we have 2 pre-season games left in America. Next up, we are going to face Barcelona. Barcelona. So that will be taking place on Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. So it's a midnight kickoff, Tuesday into Wednesday. I keep getting so confused with these. We'll also be here Monday night, where we'll be doing our Pitchside live show, where we're covering the press conferences and the open training session as well. Now, for Barcelona, this will be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what team they put out, because they are ravaged by injuries at the minute, and they've also got a team with a lot of players that, similar to City, played late into the Euros and won't be involved in the squad. If everybody was fit, then we might get a chance to see Ilkay Gundogan, but I've no idea if Ilkay Gundogan is back playing with Barcelona yet. We might also get to see Ferran Torres. I've no idea if he's back playing for Barcelona yet, so it's going to be interesting. But another big team, Keith, another opportunity for the youngsters to shine.
Yeah, and just quickly touching on something that Rico said when he was describing Oscar Bob. If he makes a mistake, he continues to play with no fear. Now, I think that as a message for young players in the academy is excellent, and actually that's testament to the culture and the environment that's being created by Pep, his staff, the senior players. That you can make a mistake, but don't be fearful of it. Because so if you fear something, if you go onto the pitch thinking, I don't want to do this, don't want to do that, you'll end up doing it. If you play with no fear and you've got a good direction in your play, good understanding of what's required of you as an individual, you will be on that development path.
Yeah, I love that. That's such a strong characteristic to have as well. So many links for City and for Barcelona. Obviously, the Pep Guardiola. Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, of course. The Pep Guardiola link. It'll be a special night for him, I imagine.
Yes, and you mentioned those players, whether they're going to be there. I mean, Yamal's another one that I'm sure a few people. The guy's 17. They don't have holidays at 17.
He won the Euros like 10 days ago. Give him a break.
But he's 17. He was probably out with his mates kicking around the following day. But if I were, it would be nice to think that Ferran Torres and Gundogan would say, first of all, that our season starts in quite soon, and therefore we need some training. Can we go to Orlando, be part of that training squad, even if we don't play, and then they can meet up with their old manager, do all the niceties, but just out of respect, I think. Yeah. And I think we might see them.
Do you?
I really would like to think they'd go. Yeah.
I'd love to see Gundogan. I'd love for the City fans to get a chance out there to see him. And
I mean, there's a mosaic of him, 50 yards over there. So yeah, he should turn up. Yeah.
Well, he was playing in the Euros. Let's also, if he doesn't, let's also give him a break.
We'll put it this way: he went home. I think it was a few days after Scotland.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, and he won as much as England did. We're
not going there, are we?
So very much looking forward to that game on Tuesday. Expecting again lots of opportunity for the youngsters, and perhaps we might see more of Kovacic and Gvardiol.
Yeah, I think they'll be introduced back, and it's about gaining that minutes, getting that tempo right, making sure that when the real competitive games start, they're where Pep and the coaching staff need those individual players to be. It's always difficult, the start of a season after a year when there's been a national competition. Very difficult to integrate those players back in up to speed.
Gents, thank you so much for being here this evening. It's 1:30 in the UK now. I'm going to watch the UFC now. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm crazy. I'm usually well asleep by this time, gents. Well asleep, but always stay awake for City. Keith Curle, thank you so much. David James, thank you. Alistair Mann and Michael Brown, thank you for the brilliant commentary as always. And thank you for watching Match Day Live. We'll be back Monday for our Pitchside live show. And then Tuesday night, going into Wednesday for the game City taking on Barcelona. Lots of positives to take from tonight, Blues. A goal made in Norway and a goal made in the academy. We'll see you on Monday.
Pep, another good workout for our boys. What's your assessment of that game?
We were better than the first game. The young players, some of them, they make a step forward. Oscar was brilliant today, much better than the last game. Like, we were more decisive with the goals and assists, but today were really good performance. In general, everyone was really good against a senior team like Milan, a Champions League team. So, step forward. So no injuries, minutes in our legs and our hurts, and another test and fly to tomorrow to another game in a few days.
I was going to ask you about Oscar specifically. He's had a a really good pre-season. He's a fantastic player, isn't he? He's got a lot of technical quality.
Yeah, so he's aggressive. Make 1 against 1, 1 against 2. Amar in the second half the same when he came in. Micah the same, you know. And the goal, the brilliant action had with Micah. But everyone making his contribution, and I'm very happy with how they play.
And what about a sellout crowd here in the Yankee Stadium? I mean,
the place is fantastic place. Of course, the baseball team the pitch wasn't comfortable, but it's fine. You know the reason why we came here. You know, sponsors, commercials. That is the reason why you have to adapt and accept it and go forward.
How much have you enjoyed your time in New York, Pep? It's been a great few days for us, hasn't it?
Yeah, not much to think. We have the sponsors and commercials you have to do and prepare the training sessions, the games. So, not much. So, for the players, some day off to do it and now recover energy for the next 3-4 days.
Thank you, Pep.
We are ready to do it all again. There'll be many ups and downs between now and May, but this is where the journey all begins.
Celtic are champions of Scotland again!
Teo Hernandez!
You were handpicking two teams who you felt could put on a footballing show. It would be City and Barcelona. Alvarez, Haaland, that is a terrific move from City. Sterling scores.